Hey everybody, this is Bailey from the EMH, and I'm back with another Elephant Money video. And hey guys, I'm all about trying to deliver education to the community, empowering you, making guys understand the protocol just a little better. Because hey, it can be pretty complex, but I think that knowledge is power, and if you understand all the complexities, you'll be more comfortable with the decisions you make, and you'll be able to speak, more knowledgeably and confidently about the protocol, because the each one teach one. We understand the mechanics and we understand just the beauty of the system, we'll be able to, spread the word and increase the herd, and, have more people join like our wonderful community. So, hey, if you appreciate, what I'm doing, consider joining me as a partner in the Stampede Network. I'd really appreciate it. Looking to try to spend more time, diving into all the content and doing a little more for the community, and I want to spend as much time as I can because like I am just totally psyched about this system. I think that it's definitely has a lot of potential to make a lot of good stuff going on in the world, so I'm pretty excited about it. All right, so guys, today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Slippin. Hey, is elephant money slipping? Absolutely not. All right, but no, the term slippage, came up quite a bit because if you're in the know and you've been engaged in the elephant money farms, which has kind of launched now for about probably about a week or so, they've been out, and really awesome. Like I'm loving them. And BT is actually now putting together a supplement, a complement to the system to help more people on board, and specifically more of our larger clientele, so more of our whales or people that are looking to enter with positions that are pretty sizable, and so one of the things he's doing is creating this thing called the Farmers Depot, and it's going to kind of be similar to peanuts. So peanuts, it allows us to get into Stampede and able to deliver BUSD right to Bertha via the BUSD Treasury. And we're allowed to get trunk at pancake swap prices right from our site, which is amazing, but that is bonded right into Stampede through the peanut system. So he's actually going to be creating a Farmers Depot system that's going to allow us to be able to mint trunk right on our site. And instead of minting for one-to-one, which is what the functionality is now, we can buy it through the Farmers Depot, and we'll actually be able to mint trunk at the reduced pancake swap prices, until we're at peg. And the whole goal behind this is we're going to be able to kind of cut out the pancake swap liquidity pool for our liquid trunk. If we want liquid trunk to interact in staking or the farm, we'll be able to actually go to the Farmers Depot and create even large purchases of trunk, and that trunk will be delivered to us back over time, and we'll be able to then use that for the farming. All right, and so one of the big bonuses to this was BT was saying that, well, one of the things is going to be we're going to be able to get trunk for no slippage, and that's going to really encourage our whales and people with large amounts of capital to get into the system, because sometimes they're a little reluctant to get in using the LP. And one of the things is like slippage, and I was like, all right, and so being like relatively new to DeFi, so I've probably about like 6 months into DeFi now, and like I was like slippage, like I knew it existed, and I was like, ah, yeah, it's like the price could go up a little bit, or I'm not going to get exactly like that particular price. It might vary a little bit, because hey, crypto are volatile assets, so the price can change, so I was like, yeah, like, and I didn't really pay much attention to it. And then when BT is rolling out the Farmers Depot, and he was having like a really open, nice conversation, getting feedback and everything from the Telegram community about it. this whole idea of, free slippage is huge, and I was like, okay, like for me, like I never really even pay attention to slippage. Like this is a big deal. Like so just like today, I was like, all right, I'm gonna like figure out what this is, right? So basically, guys, so here's like Pancake Swap, and say if you're like buying something, there's like always this like kind of like slippage tolerance. So it's like how much price variation are you willing to accept when you create a purchase, right? And it's like, all right, well, why is there even slippage if like you're say trading like two like stable coins, like what's going on here? And then so I started to like, think a little more deeply about it. And it all has to do with the constant product formula. All right. How we're always back to this constant product formula. This thing's like it's my favorite thing now in math. I'm like obsessed with it. So yeah, basically, guys, what's happening is as we make a purchase, we're actually changing, the quantities in the liquidity pool. And when the quantities in the liquidity pools change, the price of the two assets change, like in real time. And so even when, you have two assets that have low, say like volatility, like you're not trading like BNB and Bitcoin or whatever, you can still affect the price, through slippage. And the slippage could actually be rather large if you're making large purchases, and I didn't really think about this because like, hey, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not making these like huge tens and hundreds of $1,000, purchases that, some of the capital that we could eventually see coming in, could be of that magnitude. So I want to show you guys just a few things that I was able to put together here. And so right here, this was a sheet that I created a little while ago because people in the community were excited about kind of seeing like the price of trunk increase as more and more volume and more trunk was purchased. So right here, guys, we have our PCS trunk BUSD liquidity pool. And I updated the numbers for today. So right now, guys, we have about 13 million trunk in the pool, about 3.5 million BUSD sitting in the pool. And that puts the trunk price at about like 26.5 cents or so, 26.6 cents per trunk. All right. And then we have this constant product formula. All right. So that's kind of like my jam right now. And that's basically the math equation that governs the amount of tokens that are in your liquidity pool. All right. And what that is, it's just the trunk tokens times the BUSD tokens. And that's our constant. Okay. And what we're able to do, guys, is once we have that formula, as more BUSD gets put in and trunk gets taken out, we'll know exactly how much trunk needs to be removed per amount of BUSD put in, because it's going to match this formula here. Okay. And so what I did was I kind of made a chart where we were showing like basically how the trunk price progresses every $100,000 of trunk that's purchased. And so like this is where we're at right now in our liquidity pool for BUSD. And say if we put in like 100 grand, there will be less trunk. Okay. And the price would increase because there's less trunk now. So trunk is more scarce. And how you get these prices are this value here, the BUSD value is equal to the trunk value. Okay. So you're going to see as BUSD goes up and trunk goes down, but these values remain equal. All right. So now you have less trunk worth more BUSD, and that's what causes the price to increase. It gets more scarce in the liquidity pool, is what we would say. All right. And so what I want to show you guys was what if we have, like these large purchases, so if I was on the sidelines and I'm like, dude, Elephant Money Farms, like I got to get in this thing. This is like absolutely amazing. But, I'm like a big player here and I want to throw down 100 grand. All right. Or 500 grand or $1 million. So we're going to take a look at three scenarios, guys, where if we wanted to just right now purchase $100,000 of BUSD worth of trunk. if we want to purchase $500,000, and if we wanted to purchase $1 million worth of trunk, what that would actually look like and do for us, especially with like this idea of like slippage. And what if through this Farmers Depot, we didn't have to worry about slippage? Okay, and that's like the main attraction. And then there's other things to take into consideration too when you're avoiding, the liquidity pools, because sometimes you'll have like bots, like that try to like sandwich attack you, and things like that. So what that means is, they'll see the transaction like happening and they'll like undercut you. They'll make sure they pay more gas so they can get in first, and then they buy it right before you buy it. And so then the price goes up for you, and then right after you buy it, and then they ditch what they sold immediately and they pocket the difference. It's really crazy. So it ends up costing you more money. And there's lots of different little things that, you have to watch out for sometimes when you're making like larger purchases and things like that. And then we also have, kind of swing traders that sometimes when the price goes up, they're looking to, sell large quantities, and that kind of brings the price back down, and that kind of ruins the value of someone that went in for a large amount of money. So, so there's a lot of advantages to going to the system that BT is putting together, but I wanted to focus today on the slippage aspect of it. All right. So guys, just a visual. All right. Because I want you guys to try to like picture what's happening here. So this is that constant product formula curve. All right. So basically, all we're doing is we're taking the BUSD, so that like 3.5 million. All right. And that 13 million trunk tokens, you multiply it together, and then you get that K value. All right. So that's that constant and the constant product formula. And then we know that the value, the quantities of those two tokens multiply to this number right here. And what this graph shows us now is basically every single combination of BUSD and trunk that would fit this liquidity pool. All right. So basically our combinations of the two assets are going to lie on this curve right here. So when transactions come and go, all right, we know that we're going to have a combo that's on this curve. All right. And so right now, guys, we're at this little black ordered pair, this point right here. All right. So this is our current location. Guys, our x-axis right here is our amount of BUSD. All right. And then our y-axis is the amount of trunk. Okay. So say if, guys, we're looking to purchase $100,000 worth of trunk. All right, so we got $100,000 of BUSD sitting in our pockets. All right, what's going to happen, right? So we're going to go from about our 3.48 million, and we're going to put in 100,000. So that's going to bring the total amount of BUSD in the pool up to 3.58 million. So 100,000. All right. And I'm going to show you guys. So we're going to like find where that would be. Okay. And we would then be right here. Okay. On our LP constant product formula curve. Okay. And that would tell me the amount of trunk tokens that would now be in this curve. Okay. And that's what you're going to see basically right here. All right. That 12.7 million number. All right. That's where it comes from. Okay. Now, if you look at it, guys, like $100,000, and what we're actually doing every time we interact with the LP and we make a purchase, we're moving this little location, all right, around ever so slightly. Okay. Now, when we're making like small purchases, like, I only make like small purchases, I'm not like this large whale or anything. It's like a minute little difference of what we're doing. All right. So notice how like 100 grand, and I have to zoom way in to even kind of see like the movement a little bit. So, things like $100 purchases, $200 purchases, you're probably not going to see much movement on your constant product formula curve, especially especially ones that have deep liquidity. It's hard to move those locations without a higher magnitude of money. So like for, people that are like small players in the system, you might not appreciate this whole idea of slippage, because like our price really like isn't impacted or moving around that much. Maybe like, like hundredths or thousandths of a penny. So it's like not really noticeable. It's not making a large impact on the value of our purchases. All right. And what that means, guys, is like when you go to buy, you don't get the same price for every single token. So like when we go to Pancake Swap right now, and if the price is sitting right here at like 26.6 cents, you only get that price pretty much for like the first trunk token you buy. All right. Because then like the next trunk token you buy is actually worth a little more. And then the next trunk token you buy after that is actually worth a little more than that. So you actually don't take this huge or this large chunk out all at this price. Okay. Basically, what you do is you end up sliding on this scale here. And then it just stops where the amount of money you put in. So you actually end up paying a little bit different amount for every single token that you receive. All right. It's kind of like an average, and you're sliding down the scale here. All right. That's why, I try to keep it like to basic algebra, but it gets into crazy levels of calculus when you really try to like go nuts on these topics. But the whole idea is you don't get the same price for every single token. You're sliding down, and each one's getting a little bit tiny more expensive until your purchase stops. Okay. So, if you ever like just kind of noticed, like you're not going to get as many tokens as you think you would if you just straight up multiplied, the current price by, what you're going to be putting in. Okay. So that's the idea of like slippage. Okay. So like these prices are going up incrementally every time we purchase one. Okay. So right here, guys, if we go for and we put in 100 grand, the trunk price is going to go up to about like 28 cents after that purchase is complete. Okay. And, that's how many tokens we've taken out. Okay. Now you're going to be able to notice here, say if we buy 500 grand, all right, or about $500,000. All right. So we're putting $500,000 in. So we're going to go up from that 3.48 to 3.98. Okay. So now we're over here on our curve. Okay. And notice how our purchase, right? So like we're getting this price for some of them, but then we're getting, going to be higher and higher prices for the trunk. Okay. Because its quantity right now is decreasing in the LP. Okay. And as we're going down, okay, trunk is getting more and more scarce. So each of these trunk tokens is getting a little bit more expensive until our purchase ends. Okay. And it's going to end there at that like 28 cent mark. Okay. But this person that bought this 500K, they got to purchase some of those trunk tokens at like the 26 and the 0.6 cents. But then they also had to spend more and more on all these trunk tokens as well. Okay. So they ended up spending an average cost more than that starting value of that 26.6 cents for trunk. All right. So it's kind of like weird. Like a lot of people don't think about that because you're making like small purchases. You're not really like moving that much on this constant product formula curve. All right. Now, say if we're sitting here and we're going to dump in a cool mill. Okay. So cool million is going to bring us down even more, and trunk's going to get more and more scarce. A lot of trunk is leaving. So the end cost, guys, for trunk. So this was the $500,000. So say if a whale comes in and wants $1 million of trunk, it's going to bring that price up to 44 cents when the transaction's completed. And that whale is going to have to buy or, its trunk, that $1 million is going to be purchasing at like all these different price points, and all throughout that. Okay. So all the way down that scale here. All right, so pretty cool. So that's like kind of like a visual of what's happening. So think about like each transaction as kind of moving on the constant product formula curve. All right, and you're making all of these like purchases along the way. So like your tokens are always going to be worth like a little bit or a different amount of money throughout your purchase. Okay, and what you can do though is figure out what your average cost was. Okay, and this is where this is going to come into play, where we're going to be able to see that this is going to be like a great deal for like large investors. Okay, and so like here is our situation where we were going to spend 100K, right? So here's our liquidity pool now, and we're going to pump in 100,000. All right, so our constant product formula curve brings us to this amount right here. That's how many trunk is going to be left. Okay, so basically, guys, what we could do is after that purchase of 100 grand, we can figure out how many trunk tokens we got. Okay, by just finding the difference. And for that $100,000, we were able to pick up 364,960 trunk tokens. Okay. And if I figure out, all right, well, what was the average cost? You know, because I was able to get some of them at 26.6, but I was buying them all throughout this range here. And what was the average cost that cost me? And so what I could do is just figure out a unit rate cost per trunk. Okay, so the cost, so the amount that I spent divided by the number of trunk tokens I got. Okay, cost per trunk, and it came out to be about 27.4 cents. Okay, so looks can be a little deceiving when, all right, I'm buying 100 grand and I'm expecting this price, all right, but you really are buying it for more than that, okay, because we're moving up on that constant product formula curve. Okay, so what if I can get it without slippage? So what if I don't have to go through the LP? I don't have to go through this constant product formula curve. I can buy it right through the Elephant Money site, and I'm going to be able to just exchange BUSD for that quantity of trunk token and not have to go through the slippage. All right, what would that look like, right? And that would be you are getting your entire $100,000 at this price point. Okay, so you're going to be able to pick up every single trunk at the current market price. All right, so how much would I get there? Okay, well, I would still have my $100,000, and I'm going to figure out how many of these trunk tokens go into that amount through division. And I would be able to pick up 375,446 trunk tokens. All right, sweet. So you can see there, guys, that I'm going to be able to pick up more trunk through this purchase if I don't have to go through the LP and experience the slippage. Okay, and what is it going to cost? Or how much of the cost do I get, or the unit rate? All right, so that's just that 100,000, you know, divided by the number of trunk, and it's going to be the same right here. Okay, you're getting that same price throughout the entire purchase. Okay, so guys, that's a net gain of over 10,500 trunk tokens for the same $100,000 purchase. If we go through no slippage, we're picking up another 10.5K. That's pretty significant, all right? And, you know, so I was able to get that by just subtracting the differences, okay? All right, let's look at the 500 grand, okay? So the 500,000. All right, so I'm going down here, guys. Okay, so we're at that 3.48, and I'm putting in 500K, so I'm going to land right here. All right, so my trunk is going to go from here all the way down to here on that constant product formula curve. Okay, so that was where, you know, I was able to kind of see right there, okay, how much trunk is going to be left. All right, so boom, right there. Okay, and the cost is going to go up after the transaction completes to 34.8 cents. So it's going to be like a big green candle, right? Exciting stuff. Okay. All right. And then let's see what happens, guys. All right. So if we purchase through the LP here, Okay, so we would have this amount of trunk as we started off with, and then we would end up here. And if we subtract that, that's where we can figure out basically how much trunk we are getting for that 500K. And we're getting 1,641,000 trunk. Okay, and the cost per trunk, all right, so 500,000 divided by the number of trunk, and we paid on average about 30.4 cents per trunk token. So you can kind of see how it's like the average cost was kind of like in the middle of my starting quantities cost and like my ending quantities cost. All right. It's not going to be exactly in the middle because it's not a linear relationship. It's a curved relationship, but it's going to be pretty close. Okay. And so interesting stuff, guys. All right. So, again, like the larger purchase and like the more like it actually cost per token. So you can kind of see, like, start to see why, whales and everything would be reluctant to get in because they know it's going to cost them more. And then, then they might have to worry about the LP then regressing back through, a lot of people like selling off their trunk and things like that, like providing like that exit liquidity. So that's where you can kind of see like there might be some hesitancy, which like this was something that until I dove into this, I wasn't even like really, I didn't have like a clear picture of what that like even meant or what it really looked like, so I was glad I kind of like dove in and just being a little geeky today, figuring it out. Yeah, so but here no slippage, right? So no slippage. I'm getting the whole amount at 26.6, right? So I'll be able to pick up 1,877,000 trunk tokens. And if you do the division, you're gonna see, hey, it's the same unit rates. Okay, so we were able to keep that price steady the whole time. And if that's the case, guys, I am picking up even more trunk. All right. So if I go through the Farmers Depot and not through the LP, all right, I am going to get for my 500,000 trunk, 500,000 BUSD, I'm going to be able to pick up 235,797 more trunk tokens. Like that is huge, especially when you think that when big players like this are going to come into the system, think about, all of that cash that they just spent going to Bertha. So the elephant token price is going to start popping off. The treasury is going to start growing. And eventually what's going to happen is, the treasury is going to increase to a point where BT can start turning on like these governance contracts again that are going to increase the power of PEG. And they're just going to like uppercut like all these swing traders right out of existence. It's going to be amazing. Okay. But yeah, so like right here, guys, like that's a huge amount, especially when you think about if trunk returns to PEG, like 500 grand, and then this would be like $235,000 that they would have been missing out on if they went through the LP. Woo, crazy, guys. All right, the 1 million. What are we talking about here? All right, so guys, purchasing from the LP, okay? So we're starting here and we're dropping 1 million. So we're going to be left with just about 10.15 million trunk tokens in that pool. All right. And the price is going to be going up to 44 cents at the end of that transaction there. That is a huge green candle. All right. And we're walking away with $1 million worth of trunk. And that is going to come out to be about 2.916 million trunk. All right, so 2,916,000 trunk tokens for that $1 million. All right, and it turns out that overall, our average cost there was a little more than 34 cents per token. Right, so like, hey man, like the going market price is like 26.6. And if I'm sitting there with $1 million, like I know I can't even get into the system unless I'm paying like 34 cents per token. All right. So, and then what's going to happen is the price is going to come up to here. And then there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, dude, the price, like, just shot up a good, like 70%. Boom, 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 boom. You might see a lot of people start taking profits and selling short-term players, and then that's even wrecking the position even further. So I can kind of see why this Farmers Depot is going to be like a great asset for the protocol to have, because when we're going to be the great big community DeFi bank, decentralized bank, like we're going to have large players coming in and wanting to interact with it. So this is a great addition, I think, to the protocol, the Farmers Depot. All right, and so yeah, so we're going to be able to get that 26 cents throughout the entire thing. All right, so throughout the entire purchase. So amazing, guys. And so that $1 million, okay, we are going to be able to net, okay, 838,000 more trunk tokens. All right, if we get in through the no slippage compared to the LP. Okay, so we were having a debate about, what should like the rewards be and the incentives be for using the depot. And BT was like, dude, you get in with no slippage, that's like amazing. And people were like, all right, but you should also be getting like say 1% or rewards or 0.5% rewards. And then like I didn't realize the power of the no slippage, because I was just like, like I don't know, like, and I don't think a lot of people like picture this. Like I was like whoa, like that's sick, that's unbelievable. So I didn't realize how handicapped large purchases are when you're going into like an LP, a liquidity pool like this, that traders are going to be in and all sorts of stuff. It's really interesting. So guys, I hope you found this insightful. I thought it was pretty cool diving through the numbers. But basically, so I came to the conclusion that like, yeah, to get like, large players involved, they might not want to go through the LP. So this Farmers Depot makes sense. And, the huge thing is all of these proceeds, the BUSD gained, it's going to be fueling not the pancake swap liquidity pool. It's going to be fueling the elephant treasury. That is what we needed to have happen. And anything that's going to be able to sensibly put more BUSD into Bertha, like the whole community can get behind, so between this and peanuts, if you want to build your trunk position, bam, if you want liquid trunk, I love this play, when this depot comes out, because remember guys, Bertha takes care of all of us. If you want Stampede, peanuts, amazing play. And if you want elephant token, buy with Bertha, bam, make sure she gets as much funds as possible, because we're approaching 100 trillion, and then with the launch of this, I can see things picking up pretty quickly for us, so it's very exciting times. All right, thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, because I have more videos planned. I'm going to be taking a look at all the liabilities out there, all the trunk tokens out there right now. And in my next video, what Bertha needs to get to and everything to deliver us to the promised land. All right, so take care everybody, peace out, I'll see you in the next one.